past few, like 2-3 days. This is the Super P54VL-PCI board. It's got 4 PCI slots, 5 ISA slots, 2 VLB slots. Unfortunately, it has no integrated I/O. It takes 72 pin megabyte, 72 pin SIM fast-paced mode, which is very unfortunate because the chipset. Okay, so here are the chipsets that came with the system. APT Pentium A2C 597. There's one that says 596. There's our APT chipset A2C 822. A couple of other ones here. That's a clock oscillator for the ISA bus. There are lots and lots of jumpers on here. There was the nickel cadmium battery, but took that out because, well, it didn't leak, but better to take it out than anything at this point. So if you're just tuning in, this is the Super P54VL-PCI board that I've been working on. There's like so much crud on this board, it wasn't even funny. I gave it like 2 or 3 vinegar baths, a couple of isopropyl alcohol, 99.9% wash off. Also fixed the CPU lever before it was going like it was squeaking like really bad. I was looking at it, I was like, oh, nasty. And fortunately, it wasn't a pain in the butt to replace, to clean, or anything. The CPU socket itself doesn't look too terrible. Of course, I didn't put the locking mechanism all in place here. Alright, it's over here. Wrong way. So over here is the BIOS. I already dumped it and posted it online on Vogon's drivers. If you search for a P54VL-PCI, you're at the right spot. Next to that is the keyboard controller, if my memory serves me right. And then, like I said, there are 5 ISA slots, 2 VLB slots, 4 PCI slots. So basically, like a low-endish Pentium 9100 board. Unfortunately, the voltage regulator chip itself that was on here broke, and that was not my doing. That actually did happen to the solar. So I actually do have a spare one. I'll be putting that on here in the future once I get the back end all situated. And of course, if you're wondering why it looks like it's discolored, it's because of the vinegar and alcohol bath that I did on this board. That and things scrubbed a little bit too hard, but it doesn't look too terrible. It's just only in the battery area. But here in the back end, you see a lot of that nasty crud that's on over there. I did get a little bit off right over here and a couple of spots right here, but the rest of this board, like, I need to figure out how to get all that crud off of there. I can theoretically just get like the soldering iron and a wick with some flux on it, like paint some flux like right in the entire spot there, remove all that crud off of there. Look at the leaks and see if they're any good. If they are good, if I'm lucky, I can resolder the whole thing. So that way this board will be a lot nicer than it is now. It's starting to come along a little bit better. There was like so much, when I was doing the vinegar bath, there was like so much crud at the bottom of this tub here. It wasn't even funny. I was like, oh man, it's nasty as heck. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there was a little bit of corrosion on the locking tabs for the SIM slot, for the SIM memory. So I just got a toothbrush with the vinegar, scrubbed it down, got all that off again. Fortunately, sorry, I get really bad hand cramps if I hold my phone for too long. So I wish I could use my laptop, but unfortunately it's actually undergoing maintenance, quote unquote, at the moment. I don't know if you can see it or not, but this one AC slot right here has a little bit of it has rust on only just on one pin right there. The other one is just a teensy weensy bit, but the rest of it doesn't even look too terrible. Like the rest of these ones right here. Come on, there we go. Actually, don't look too bad at all. Looks up there, so just a little. Can't see. There we go. A little bit on there. I have to get my toothbrush here. I got brand new toothbrushes, so I can like help rid some of this crud off here. I was going to send a happy birthday video to somebody that they talk to on Twitter on a daily basis, but I figured I might as well not do that because I don't know if she'll like that or not. I mean, to me, she is so freaking fine. But I'm getting off the subject here. Right, okay, so this is where the cache should go, and there's a bunch of rust on those pins there, but it doesn't, but they're starting to look a little bit better. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go, I might have to replace all of these. I think these are 32 pin P-dips or something like that, maybe a little bit less than that. I can't count. If I get a better light, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, it looks like they're 28 pin. If I count everything correctly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep, 28. And this thing can take up to 512 kilobytes of level 2 cache, which isn't bad for a paying board, but no, some paying boards actually did take a little bit more than that. I'd say around, I think some of them did take 1 megabyte at one point in time. I know some of the, oh, you replayed back. Sorry, I got off topic there. Anyway, so this is the motherboard like I said, I'm working on. Yeah, and of course, Lucky Bob, thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. Saying it was abused and everything. I am going to give this board a second chance of life. And hell, if I'm lucky. So this board should, if I'm lucky, if this board works as is, I'd be happy. But if it doesn't work, I can do some more diagnostics and try to get this thing up and running. And if I get this thing up and running, that'll be worth the 20 bucks I paid for this freaking motherboard. But if it works as is, after I do all the cleaning and reflowing and stuff like that, if it works as is, that'll be like the best 20 bucks I spent on this board. And these boards are like unicorns. Hard to find. So right now I'm just letting this air dry from the alcohol. I know you're going to say, why are you going to do that? Oh, I'm out of compressed air. The keyboard connector is actually pretty good. The battery that was on here did not leak at all, which was a positive experience right there. Because those nickel cadmium batteries that are on there were notorious for leaking those Varda batteries. So I'm like, I was looking at it, I'm like, it didn't even leak at all. Not bad. But this board has suffered a lot of abuse, like maybe a critter made like a little nest or something like that right here, and it scared like a bunch of like crud that was in there. It was like a bunch of pieces of straw, pieces of hay, stuff like that in there. maybe that's probably the reason why the board got corroded is because of the mice piss, but I am not entirely sure. So I'm going to go do some further digging and see what I can find. No capacitors have been harmed, thankfully. There's one ceramic right there. So I'm going to go test all those. There's a power LED light right there, which has, actually doesn't look too bad at all. So if this board works, like I said, as is, without me changing anything on here or doing some patchwork on it, like wire tracing and stuff like that. Yeah, and of course after removing all the rest of the rot that's on here, or as people would say, rust, for this back in the board here, or oxidation, one of the two. I'm just going to get, like I said, paint some flux on there. Remove all the rust, all the solder points, like on here, and just do a whole and check the legs and make sure they're all good. And if they're all good, still, if there's just a little bit of rust in there, or it's just a little bit of rust just only at the top and it doesn't eat all the way through, if I'm lucky, then I'll do the whole reflow. Sorry about that, my mom needs some cookies here. I think that's what it said. Oreo cookies. Okay, yeah, I'm going to get my mom some Oreo cookies here real quick. Yes, I still live over here with my parents. No, you don't have to be any bigger. You didn't say, oh, why are you doing that? Why can't you just get your own apartment? I can't afford it. I gotta get a better stand for this thing. Yeah, I'll be right back. misplaced my tail light again. Oh, there it is. I'm gonna check to see if anyone. Yes? I forgot the mute button is on there. Okay, so the stream's been going for 21 minutes, close to. In 3, 2, 1. Now it's at 21 minutes. Alright, so we're just at the 21-minute marker. And I'm sorry for not getting out. Okay, so here's the tub that I put my board in. It's nasty as heck. If you guys are wondering, no, I don't use the same vinegar or alcohol I use. Just a little bit at a time. It's not that stupid. A lot of people just like tend to use it over and over and over again. But I'm not sure if it's actually a good idea to do that, but I digress. Anyway, everything I did was a gas spray bottle and filled it with some vinegar and put some salt in here. Mix it around by shaking it up and down to mix it, and it's to like help remove like some of the corrosion off the board, because there's like some little bit of corrosion on some of these pins in here, and it did a really good job. Well, I wouldn't say a really good job, but I'd say it paired very well. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but I figure might as well do some more scrubbing on here. Might as well have to do a refill and some of these pins here, unfortunately. Actually, yeah, it's starting to show the card on the pin, so I'm going to reflow. Dang, that hurt. Reflow all those. I have to do a reflow on the chipset here, but I have to make sure that I use my heat gun instead of using the regular soldering iron, because they say if you use that on QFP chips like this, that's not going to end up well. It looks like there's a little bit of a... That's just a piece of card on there. I think that was just card. Let me take a look again with the thing. There we go. Yeah, that was just a piece of card that was on there. But anyway, the PCI slots are yellows. I know that. You don't have to be an emerald and say, oh, they are yellow. A lot of PCI slots do yellow over time, but this one looks like it was abused a little bit, or abused like in its life, like after being in storage. And if there's one thing I learned about putting something in storage, always make sure it's in a climately controlled area. Place it in a container where rodents like mice, rats, or what have you can even get into. Yeah, I know they can chew through plastic. I think they chew through plastic, but I digress. Anywho, the pins on here were nasty. And once everything dries up, it's probably going to show the slight corrosion on the pins on the cache again. But that's no big deal. I can just replace those sockets and replace those chips that are on there. If you're wondering, yes, it is a bit of an awkward. Starting to show a little bit in there again. Yeah, a lot of it just getting corrosion. I have to figure out how to get rid of corrosion on these pins for good. But the slots itself, like the IC slots and the PCI slots and VLB slots, well, except for this one right here. Sorry, I have to shine the light again. There we go. Except for that one small pin right there at the bottom. I normally don't use the bottom IC slots anyways. But in case I had to do that, then I have to get rid of the rest that's on there. And I also tried to use my Rust-Oleum rust removal gel. I'm trying to figure out where that bottle is. It's over here somewhere. Anyway, I tried to use that. Oh, there it is, right here. It's the gel. Rust dissolver gel formula. Works fast within 3 minutes. Apparently, I didn't wait the full 30 minutes, so I might as well just put some a little bit on the toothbrush here and scrub lightly. I don't even know if this is safe for logic boards. If anyone can tell me, this can, if this can be used in logic boards, please let me know in the comments, or I'm gonna post it in the Discord server, at any time. Or any on the forums like Vogons or VC Fed, things of that nature. I just need to figure out if using this Rust-Oleum Rust Dissolver gel formula is safe on PCB boards. Because I hate to use it like all the time on logic boards that have a little bit of rust on it. But if it's just something like the backplane, for example, like the ones that are on sound cards or the ones that are on video cards, things of that nature, like something like this, for example, if it had a little bit of rust on it, I could use it on there, no problem. Once I remove it off the card. I can't remember what those things are called. Brackets, there we go. Brackets or backplane, like the IO backplanes and stuff like that. They have a little bit of rust, so I can use it on there. But if it ate through all of it, then I have to replace the whole 9 yards. And a lot of people are suggesting to do the 3D printing, which of course I can't afford a 3D printer at this time, unfortunately. It would actually be nice to have a 3D printer, so that way if I have to make an IO bracket that is not for sale any longer. Like those ATX back IO backplanes for AT motherboards like this, for example. Um, since a lot of those aren't even available at the moment, or they haven't sold them for a long period of time. The only thing I could do is I can 3D print one, and then 3D print like a 5.25 inch drive panel with the rocker switch for power, the reset and turbo buttons on the top end. I think I did see 5.25 inch one or 3.5 inch one for sale on eBay at one point in time. It's been a while, but I digress. But so in case if I want to use like an ATX case like this for something like this, yes, this does have turbo switch and turbo LED on here, but unfortunately, I have no idea if that functionality does work on a Pentium board like this one, for example. I know in some of the boards it does have it, but I don't think the functionality was actually 100% on that one. I guess the turbo button, what it does, in case you get, yeah, Beagle, thank you very much for stopping by. Anyway, so if you're, in case you missed it, and of course the video will be posted on my channel here as soon as I hit the end button on my phone. This is the Super P54VL-PCI board. And right now I've been doing some work on it. Like I did some vinegar bath and some isopropyl alcohol bath on it, 99.9%. Okay, so the solution I was using was distilled white vinegar to wash the board just a little bit to get rid of a lot of the crud that was sitting in here. Well, then to get rid of all the corrosion, there's like on these pins here and all of here, stuff like that. And I also used a spray bottle, filled it with vinegar, and added a little bit of salt to it. Shook it around to get a little bit deeper into the corrosion, the corroded pins and stuff like that. And it did a pretty good job getting a lot of that off of there, except for that little pin on the ISA slot right there. It needs to be addressed. And then after all that, washed it like from the front to back here. I soaked in 99.9 isopropyl alcohol, just a little bit, like just poured it on, and then let it sink all the way down. And here's the back of the board there. There is a bunch of rust here on these pins. And I was using this rust dissolver gel solution. I only used it to put it on the toothbrush and I scrubbed it just a little bit. I didn't scrub it like very hard or anything because I hate to use something like this on Logic boards because I have no idea if it's actually safe for that. I know it's safe on metals, but I don't think Logic boards are actually really safe with it. So I decided to just use it just once and stop, and that was it. So the next solution for me to do that is to get some flux, slap it on all these affected areas here, get my desoldering braid, my solder wick, and suck up all of it. I don't even have a desoldering iron at the moment, which is pretty sad. I could use one. But anyway, I'm still waiting for this to dry up. It might get a little bit of crud on there, so I have to clean it up some more. But anyway, in case you missed it, I also fixed the socket 5, the socket here, because it was really creaky. Like, it took like two screwdrivers. I had to use a screwdriver to open it back and forth, and look at that. It's a lot better. It's a heck of a lot better. It's like brain spanking new. After I scrub that, scrub the inside of it. Also cleaned this off a little bit. There was so much dirt on there, but it actually didn't come out too bad. It actually came out pretty good. And then the sim slots, there's a little bit. Actually, I think I had a little bit of dirt in there, but I got all that out of there. There was just so much crud on this board. Like, I don't know what was on it, but it looked like a mouse looked like it was building a nest on this board or something like that at one point in time in its life. And so basically, like, improper storage is my understanding. And of course, thank you, Lucky Bob, for pointing that out, that it looked like it was abused. Um, so I'm trying to give this thing a second life here by cleaning it. Then I'm going to do some reflow like on these pins here, just in case that they're like any spotty or something like that. Do the back ends too, with the removing the cruddy solder off of there, putting some fresh new one on there. Inspecting the components, that sort of thing, like inspecting like all the legs on every single one of these things here, including the bottom of the P-dips and the ICs here, to make sure that none of them got eaten all the way through, and if they didn't get eaten all the way through, just a little bit at the tip, if I'm lucky. But the one thing I have to turn my attention to is the cache sockets right here. These are P-dip 28. I'm not sure about the length. I can't remember how length of the length of these things are, but there's also the missing VRM. I actually have a spare one that's a fixed 3.3 volt one, because this board uses 3.3 volts for the processor itself, which is pretty sad. So fortunately, I do have a spare VRM that I can just put it right in here. I think as long as you take a look at the bottom here and see if the legs actually do tie together. And sadly, they do not, so I think I have to get out one that's a little bit lengthier, or even spread. Well, I wouldn't say that. Like him, move the legs over just a teensy weensy bit to make it, like, expand the legs a little bit more. Not expand. I hate to say that word because it sounds like something I shouldn't say, like, online. Anyway, and that one is the clock oscillator for the I always forget, the ISA bus. That's his 14 point. Sorry, I can't see now. 14.2. So essentially 7 point. I'm sorry, 14.31818. So like essentially 7 point. I can't. I'm not really good at math now. Sorry. Um. But anyway, and the bottom chips right here. These are the memory. I'm sorry. This is the BIOS chip. I successfully extracted the BIOS off of there onto my computer and stored it online, so people, in case if they have a particular board such as this, and they need a BIOS chip and they have to replace it in case theirs died all of a sudden, or pins got so corroded that they fell apart. And when they, yeah, thank you. I just want to make sure that I archive the BIOS just in case the chip actually does go out or something like that. At least I have the BIOS itself, and I can use another one from a broken motherboard such as this Packet Bell. Well, actually, this Packet Bell is working, but in a manner of speaking, because they use the same style chip here. This is an Intel P58F010120, and some of the 46 motherboards, such as that Packet Bell that has the video card and system BIOS on one chip. It's essentially like that, but this one uses an AMI BIOS. I'm not sure if it's the GUI, the Win BIOS, or the GUI one. Zinc Jr., thank you very much for the